Welcome into the Lycamobile Jaguars Jam for the first time in 2019. JP Shadrick with Jaguars defensive tackle Abry Jones. What's up? How are you, man?
I'm feeling a little good.
Okay, good.
Week 2, get back to the grind, get the team a dub.
Yeah, we got to get back on track, man.
Yeah,
After a game like
track.
that, get that out of the way and just go ahead and move forward. Right?
Yep, 24-hour rule.
I like that. 24 hours. We're way past that now. We're going to look ahead to the Texans game coming up. We're going to try something different this year on the Jaguars Jam. Okay, are you ready for this? You're our first, guinea pig, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Here. So we're going to ask you to draw something, and you'll have 30 seconds to do it.
30 seconds.
And then you'll show it off, and we'll compare it to what the real thing is. And then we'll get to some questions from UK media. You ready? All right, you're going to have to draw the Texans logo. And you get 30 seconds, and we'll start it right now. Meanwhile, the Jags have the Texans this week. It's a team that lost on Monday Night Football last week. Deshaun Watson played well in that game, though, especially in that last drive to get them down in a scoring position there. DeAndre Hopkins, great matchup, of course, with Jalen Ramsey this week. J.J. Watt was held off the stat sheet a week ago, and they've made some big trades over the last couple of weeks or so to change things down in Houston. Good division rivalry here. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up this Sunday in Houston. All right, I'm going to call time. I don't know if that's 30 seconds, but Abry, what do you have as the Texans logo, and how does it compare to the real one? Let's see yours first.
I feel like mine's pretty decent.
Okay, all right.
There's the little star for the eye.
Okay, good.
This is the blue shaded side.
Okay. All right, and there's the real one. It's not bad.
What's a mirror pick? See the blue's on the right. It's on the.
I'm with you.
What's on the right?
Close enough. Well done.
Yeah.
Way to get us started.
Game Pictionary, I would got points for that.
I agree. I would have guessed that's the Texans. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some questions. Starting from UK media here, starting with Sporting Life. Let's go to the quarterback position. We'll get to defense coming up. But how did the locker room react to Nick Foles' injury? That's a downer certainly for this team.
It affected us all. especially the way it happened, because we saw the great throw he threw, but we also saw the shot he took it. And, initially when you see that, that's one thing you want to see at your quarterback that stands there and takes a hit and makes that throw. Unfortunately we lost him. It was a big hit for us because he was a big signing in the offseason, a piece that a lot of people in and outside our locker room felt like that it was what the team needed. But it hurt just like any other teammate, especially, we went through the summer with him. We saw how willing he was to lead this team and how much he gave to the team. And, when you see teammates like that go down, it just affects you internally.
Another question from Sporting Life on this topic, but moving ahead now about Gardner Minshew. What do you know about Gardner after this summer with him? And what type of character is he around the locker room? I think you're right across lockers from him, right?
I'm a couple lockers down.
Yeah.
He's a solid guy. A lot more, not saying that he's focused, but when I first saw him, I didn't really know what kind of guy he was. I thought he was a party guy when I saw the mustache.
Sure, right?
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, all right, classic, little Matthew McConaughey, all right. That's what I thought at first. But no, he's a guy that's really locked in. He has a good, decent arm. He has a good, head on his shoulders. He can really play the quarterback position. And I think a big thing for me and for the team also was that when he went in, we loved that the playbook was not dumbed down. We saw the situation at one point in time. We were still in the game, and we was going after it. And so, coaches put him back there and said, throw the ball. And he went out there fearless. He made the right throws. He didn't try to force anything, and he made his completion. So, for us to move forward, you got to have that belief in the next man up. And he came in and showed it with no hesitation, and I know he's going to attack this next week.
Yeah, and that was in that game last week. That had to happen the way things were going in that game. They had to throw the ball and kind of stay with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's move ahead here to Love Sport Radio with this question about mobile quarterbacks. You're coming up against Deshaun Watson this week. Do you think someone like him a week after Mahomes with a similar skill set helps you prepare? How are those guys similar? Are there differences between those two styles?
I feel like with Mahomes and Watson, I feel like they're very similar because I feel like they're more of a new age mobile quarterback that, they showed off the athleticism so much that it makes teams aware of it. but they're still quarterbacks, and they're always going to prove that. I mean, if they show the mobility, it's not the old Michael Vick days taking off a 90. Now, they'll take it if you give it to them, but
Sure.
they know how much more they can affect a team with their arm. And so really what you want to do is trying to keep them in that pocket to lessen that second chance for DeAndre Hopkins or Will Fuller to get down the field and make plays for him because he also has a big arm.
How much of a challenge is that for you in your position there in the middle of that defensive line when all of a sudden they take off? You got to chase this guy around, especially for the defensive line as a whole. And this week there's some guys on the injury report on the defensive line. I mean, you don't know really who's going to be up and down. It's a big challenge to get home on a guy like that.
Of course. I mean, it just really comes down to we got to be way more disciplined. I mean, we don't want to slow anybody up on their rush or anything like that because you slow down on a guy like this, he's going to eat you alive. So, I mean, you got to continue rushing the same way you do, but you got to be smart. You can't be running past the quarterback and making vertical seams for him to step up and show off that athleticism that we're, so afraid of.
All right, some big picture questions here from some fans.
Big picture.
You ready for these? Bold City Brigade UK and Ireland asking, have you done the London? Oh, you've done the London game more than any other NFL player. What do you like or dislike about London, and what have you heard about how best to do the trip? It's coming up against the Texans, in fact.
I say probably the worst part about London might just be the flight. Flight's so long.
Yeah.
Especially like right after the game. You got all the aches and pains, and the altitude just makes it worse.
I mean, it's straight to the airport.
Yeah, straight to the airport.
Yeah.
And so that sucks. I hate to say this because I know London finds, Gordon Ramsay, and they might find themselves on fine cuisine, but y'all got to do a little bit better with that seasoning. And everything doesn't have salt and pepper on it. Some cheeseburgers got a little bit of a purple twinge to it. I don't, but I still love y'all. I still go to, Nando's? The chicken's always good.
Yeah, right? That's right around the corner.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
That's a good spot.
But the best way to get ready for it is, stay hydrated on that long flight. And then as soon as we get there, some guys want to explore. We got a little bit of free time, but you got to go to sleep. You got to go to sleep, reset, your internal clock and stuff like that, so that way you feel back at home. And then when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, you got to get up and go. I mean, we probably won't have nothing to do meetings-wise, anything, but I just get up, I just walk around the hotel. You got to get active, get the day started, so, get a little normalness to the day.
You've done this every year. Of course, you've been here the longest active Jaguar right now. Let's go to another fan question from Richard Baxter. How do you motivate yourself, and has that changed the longer you play? How is that different when you were a rookie or a second-year player to now? Well, you're going into year 7, right?
Mm-hmm. Motivation is really how you want to see yourself. I feel like if you come in every year and you just, treat football as a job and not really a game that you love, you hear a lot of guys say they do it for free. Once you start to think, I was like, well, they ain't paying me, I'm not doing this. It's hard to motivate yourself. You got to want to see better for yourself. You got to see, yourself do better to help this team. Mm-hmm. And I think for me personally, the one thing I always hung on to with, playing here, we always had great defensive linemen. And then when I played, I always want to make sure I'm not the weakest link. And that's the thing that drives me every year. I want to make sure I'm a guy that goes on the field and my teammates aren't second-guessing while I'm out there.
Let's move on. A couple more questions here for you from Gavin McDonald. Now, who is the comedian in the locker room? I'm sure there are a few.
Yeah, there's a few.
And probably some that shouldn't be.
Yeah. We got a good little few. We got a nice group. Not really, stand-up comedians, but everyone has a good joke once in a while. I feel like for the D-line room, I might just hold that for our guys.
That's you.
Yeah. I got a nice little banter, especially when it comes to Calais. Anything Calais I can make funny because everything he does is hilarious to me.
Why is that?
Because he's a large man, and the
way he sounds.
The way he sounds. I tell him every day he sounds like he smokes 10 packs a day. The way he moves. I mean, Calais, he's an athletic man. But when you get him on one of them off days where he's just feeling a little sore, I mean, he just looks like a huge hunchback. He's just moving slow. And so, I mean, he's like a walking tree in like Lord of the Rings or something like that. So, I mean, when I do room, we go back and forth. But I feel like, linebackers, I feel like Miles is pretty funny than DBs. I've never been on a team where DBs weren't funny. So I feel like if you're looking for most comedians, you're going to find them in the DB room.
If you don't have funny DBs, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Final question here. It's a question of the week from one of the UK's JagTag participants, brought to you by LGT Vestra US. JagTag, a simplified version of American football played in schools and community projects around England. The question this week is from Jaden Davis, 13 years of age, from Walworth Academy in London. Given the experience on the D-line, who is considered the vocal leader of that group? We mentioned comedians, but leadership's a little, can be a little bit different.
I mean, you're talking about vocal leaders in D-line room. It definitely starts off with Calais. He's the elder statesman, of all of us. He's been around, seen a lot of things, a lot of success. So, he always has a story or a motivational speech for every situation. So I feel like, the guy was him. And then after him would be Jan. Jan is more in the situation. Emotions come up and he's gonna give it to you raw and uncut. You know what I mean? And then I'm like the big brother trying to keep everybody focused, giving reminders. If we get off track, hey, let's bring it back in. And I'm like Jan's personal chaperone. If you let Jan go off, he'll go off for a little bit, but I try to keep him under control.
A lot of personalities in that room.
A lot of personality. I mean, I feel like we wouldn't be a D-line that we have been in the past and going to be in the future if we didn't have all these personalities. We do a good job of meshing them together and using them to our strengths.
All right, Abry, you're a good man for coming in. Appreciate you doing the first one this season, and good luck to you this week in Houston. Let's get a W.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There he is, Abry Jones, Jaguars defensive tackle. We'll catch you next time on the Lycamobile Jaguars Jam.